Hi, I'm Ashwin Desai, and this is my UTNIF Diagnostic speech on the question, is a peaceful solution possible in the South China Sea? In The Economist's cartoon from last week, it depicts an argument between the Chinese dragon and Uncle Sam, as the United States issues several demands that the islands in the South China Sea be given territorial sovereignty. The Chinese dragon completely disregards all of these demands. But in the end, China has the last say, as they lift up all the islands to reveal that they are all actually made in China. The argument accurately depicts current relations, as tensions are flaring in the proxy war in the South China Sea between China and the West over the Spratly Islands, the Paracel Islands, and the Scarborough Shoal. In fact, Defense One explains on May 13th that China is building up air controls and are even resorting to building new islands in the region to take more control over international maritime policy. With more and more military alliances and technology, we could have a world war, and that would cost millions of lives and slow down the current economic growth of the entirety of the Asian continent, meaning the economic stability of the whole world could be in jeopardy. With this massive significance, we must ask today's question: is a peaceful solution possible in the South China Sea? To which the answer, unfortunately, is a resounding no, for three main reasons. First, because of China's military escalation. Second, their attempts at economic destabilization. And finally, the resilience against multilateralism. Once both sides of this conflict are fully armed and have their maritime artilleries fully built up, we will be entering a Cold War phase, where a single step out of line on either side will cause the region to literally explode into chaos. That's why the first reason why peace will not be possible is because China has already begun military escalation. The Christian Science Monitor points out on March 23rd that China now has the Air Defense Identification Zone, or the ADIZ. It gives them a strategic triangle with increased domination between the Spratly Islands, the Paracel Islands, and the Scarborough Shoal. But this military escalation will not go unprovoked, especially by hegemonic rival Malaysia. The Guardian points out on March 15th that Malaysia is seeking new allies in the region, like Australia and the United States, to support them militarily against China. In these cases, Malaysia and the United States have fully built up militaries, as does China. As both countries continue to build up their militaries till we have mutually assured destruction, a single step out of line will cause chaos. Be it an unintentional miscalculation by China or an intentional provocation, we are going to see chaos. That means that the slightest action taken by either side, be it an airship sent by the United States into Chinese waters, could be completely blown up. And that would trigger a world war, as an international action like that would be considered a war crime. Countries will be forced to respond, and we will be thrown into war. When no solution can guarantee the stability of a nation's financial markets, they will have to resort to war to ensure economic stability. The second reason why peace will be impossible in this case is because China is trying to flex its own economic muscle in the region. A Congressional Research Service publication from May 31st of 2016 explains that China's policy is called salami slicing. By doing so, they have 90% of control of the South China Sea and the $5.3 trillion in trade that goes through the region every single year. By doing so, they show a blatant disregard for the exclusive economic zone established by UNCLOS and the United Nations. The diplomat explains on April 13th that as the price of international commodities is falling, especially and rapidly that of oil, China's hegemonic rivals like Vietnam are forced into a tight spot. Their economy is completely dependent on oil. But as the price and value of oil falls, countries like Vietnam lose all of their bargaining chips, meaning that they can have no chance at negotiations. If they want to get control back from China, they cannot negotiate for it. They have to seize it. Seizing control means they'll have to use the military. To keep food on the plates of the Vietnamese people, Southeast Asia will have to seize control back, and that means using the military. China is attempting to dissolve many international solutions, but The Independent explains on April 23rd that because of the film The Martian, a Chinese top space official said that China and the United States can work together on many new frontiers. But the chance of China and the West actually working together is only possible in Hollywood, because China has made many efforts to disband ASEAN solutions within the region. The Brown Political Review points out on March 21st that as the United States and ASEAN merge their solutions into one and to form one single coalition to negotiate with China, China is ignoring all of their diplomatic efforts. And that's showing in a diminishing of Sino-American relations and a reduced power of ASEAN diplomacy. That's evidenced by the Time magazine on June 15th of 2016, where they explain that China does not want one diplomatic table with Vietnam, the Philippines, and Malaysia all sitting at it. They don't want to have multilateralism. They only want bilateralism. That means separate negotiations with Vietnam, separately with ASEAN members, and separately with the Philippines. That isn't going to work. With so many contesting claims, ASEAN has been forced into a spot. Just a few weeks ago, they made a statement saying that China's salami slicing was eroding trust and confidence in the region. But under political pressure from its own members, and especially top Chinese bureaucratic officials, ASEAN had to retract their own statement. Clearly, China's disregard for multilateralism and their support for bilateralism is ignoring groups like ASEAN who want to bring regional peace. With reduced diplomacy, we have an increased chance for war. We need multilateralism, but China won't let that happen, meaning war is the only solution left. So, when we come back to today's question, is a peaceful solution possible in the South China Sea? The answer, unfortunately, is a resounding no for three main reasons. First, because China's military escalation. Second, their attempts at economic destabilization. And finally, their determination against multilateralism. If China and the South China Sea can explode into a much bigger conflict, World War III is knocking on our doorstep, and these kind of conflicts won't be cartoons. They'll be reality.